Board of the Virginia Nuclear Energy Consortium Authority to order. I'd like to start this morning, if we could, by, even though we don't typically do this, making introductions simply because we do have one guest speaker, and I'd like to give him the opportunity to understand who you are and what organization you represent here on the authority. So, you know me, Donald Hoffman, with Excel Services Corporation.
My name is Michael Skiffington. I'm the Policy Manager for the Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy here in the Commonwealth.
Helen Deegan, the federal.
Gary Tepper, Chair of the Canada and the Richmond Virginia. From Jefferson.
I'm Bob Bailey with the Center for Advanced Engineering and Research. We're a nonprofit research organization in the Lynchburg area, working closely with B&W and REVA.
I'm John Capson. I'm the president of Central Virginia Community College in Lynchburg, representing Virginia's community colleges.
Erica Gray, Virginia Sierra Club.
Excuse me. I am Randy Marcus. I'm the governor's senior policy advisor, and I staff. I provide staff support for the commission or the authority.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'm Craig Piercy, I'm the Washington representative of the American Nuclear Society. And look forward to chatting with you today.
Sir?
David Martin News.
You were going to say you weren't going to get away that easy. Do we have a quorum, Randy?
We do not have a quorum.
Very well. This meeting today is for information purposes only. We don't currently have any actions before us. In the event any do come before us, and we'll have to decide what, if any, actions we'll take to get some kind of voting mechanisms outside of this meeting. So our next action, having said that, would be the approval of the minutes. We sent out the meeting minutes here 2 weeks ago, so I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the meetings from the last minutes from the last meeting.
So
We have a motion. Second?
Second.
We have a second. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion of the meeting minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very well, it carries. Thank you so much. I'd like to get an update from the Virginia Nuclear Energy Consortium. As you're all well aware, and this is something that Craig has been informed about, is that we have an authority, which is the governmental organization reporting directly to the governor in supporting these activities, and we have a consortium which works underneath us. But before we go any further, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yes, Jennifer Boykin, New Shipbuilding, representing Matt Monahan.
Would you be kind to introduce yourself?
Craig Piercy, Washington representative of American Nuclear Society.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer. I trust your good. And good morning, sir.
Hey,
How are you?
Jerry.
Good morning.
We get you over here in front of the.
Invariably, by the way.
Oh, we get you over there by the.
Jerry, you want to get comfortable here? Can I offer you some Diet Mountain Dew? I don't have enough.
Diet Mountain Dew.
Wow. Hey, look, it's all the cavemen out of the sugar. When you work with Craig as much as I do, you need to do a lot to keep up.
There's the quorum now.
Would you come up to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, all. I'm Jerry Giles, representing the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. Nice to be with you. Sorry I'm late.
And I'm Craig Piercy from the American Nuclear Society, Washington representative.
Okay, very well. I understand we now do have a quorum, so in the event that there are any actionable items for us to take, we will be able to take care of them. So, Gary, can I ask you to give us an update on the Energy Consortium?
Sure. I have a handout I'll pass around on starting. I hope I get enough copies, but it's not a whole lot of information. Sama and Ali Hagigat were nice enough to prepare a summary of the activities for the Virginia Engineering Consortium. And the first one was that they reviewed applications from 3 law firms in order they're incorporating, and needed to decide the best way to do that. They selected the LeClaire Ryan law firm. Sammy's been the liaison between the board and the law firm. If you run out, maybe I can just. Do you have enough?
Yeah, we're okay.
We do have enough? Okay.
Oh, no, we won't be fine, so. Here you go.
And I can just make copies. And so so far they've accomplished the following. They prepared a purpose statement and decided on a 501c6 option. So the second handout is the comparison between the 2 options that they were considering, the 501c3 and the 501c6. And it gives a line-by-line comparison of the 2. And the 501c3, which is the one they decided not to pursue, is really set up more for charities. I spoke with Sam over the phone today, and she said that the 501c6, which is really set up to promote a line of trade or business or to improve business conditions, it's the one that they felt was more appropriate for the consortium. And for example, it would give them the ability to lobby, which I think is critical. And I think that with the 501c3, that was not possible. So there are some things you don't get. Certainly tax exemption, they would have to pay state and local taxes as a 501c6, and our dues or member fees tax deductible, yes or both. You can go down, I won't go through all of these, but they are incorporating under the 501c6, and I think that is, since the finalizing application will be filed this month, and then on the purpose of the organization, the excerpt from the application reads, the corporation is created to facilitate, encourage, and advance the nuclear industry in Virginia through collaboration among industry participants, colleges and universities, and not-for-profits in areas of need and interest to its members, including but not limited to addressing workforce needs in the nuclear industry, research, innovation, and commercialization of nuclear technologies, providing information and education to the public officials, and policymakers on issues related to the nuclear industry, and enhancing Virginia's competitiveness in the nuclear industry, both nationally and internationally. So I think they've made good progress on selecting the type of corporation they wanted to set up, and by the end of the month it should be in place. And then, of course, once they're set up as an actual entity, they can start receiving dues, which leads to the next item. They interviewed on May 4th and May 11th 4 candidates for the position of the executive director, which would be a paid position. And so that they can't really hire the person officially until they've set up the corporation and started soliciting dues from the members. And then they selected one candidate and are concurrently preparing an offer letter for that candidate. According to Sam, by the end of this month, we should have an executive director in place if the offer goes through and the negotiations are acceptable by the finalists. And the third one is they conducted some efforts to advance the initiatives. Under workforce development, the board members have had meetings among the interested parties, and they're working on a strategy which takes advantage of existing activities by other entities such as NEI. And then in terms of technology and asset facilitation, Sama and Ali have been active in the discussion of the future of the B&W IST facility. To this effect, they have endorsed an invitation letter for a workshop which will be held, and I think many of us received that letter, on June 3rd and 4th at CAER. The purpose of this workshop is, quote, address the R&D challenges and opportunities for utilizing the IST and INC lab at CAER as a platform incorporating interfaces for process scale, thermal hydraulic investigations, and cyber physical systems. So that's the summary.
That workshop's the 4th and 5th.
4th and 5th. So this is,
yes,
is it correct? It's 4th and 5th? Okay.
It's the 4th and 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any wish, as you're aware, for any of the authority members to attend that?
They're certainly welcome to the primary activity at that meeting. There is a request for information out from the Department of Energy on R&D priorities and on infrastructure. We're doing a joint response to that with multiple universities to the infrastructure, making the case that the ISD facility has some really unique and valuable assets that do meet some of DOE's priorities. So the major purpose of that is to get the universities that want to be a part of that to look at the first draft. We'll have a draft by the end of next week, and we want to bring everybody together as much as we can face-to-face and hammer out what those applications are. Certainly welcome. Our position is the more the merrier on that.
Okay.
Could you share the university?
We're still getting RSVPs back in, but certainly Ali and Sama have been key for VCU and Virginia Tech. University of Pitt has taken a very active role in this. NC State, kind of a secondary role. Purdue, we're not sure if Purdue's coming or not, but they've expressed an interest, and so we're still getting some of those RSVPs back in. Haven't heard from them.
Did you go out to How did you distribute the information related to this to the other participating universities or the other?
We've had 2 workshops prior to this one that were just informational. We just basically, we pulled together a list of programs, basically not just nuclear, but mechanical engineering, because the applications of the IST are beyond nuclear.
Certainly.
And that's our premise to DOE. So we went out to mechanical engineering departments that did thermohydraulic work. From the first session, we got some more names, went out and did a second session. Those 2 were more about come see the loop, walk through it, talk to us, raise questions. You'll think of things we haven't thought of. And so from those attendees and names that they brought up, that's how we put together the list so far.
Would you be kind enough to send the information? Can we do that, Randy?
Yeah, sure.
All of us can receive the information about the, the agenda, the venue, and so on and so forth, so that if any of us wish to attend, we can. Bearing in mind, no more than 3 of us can be there. 3 or more of us can't be there at the same time.
For something like this, as long as you didn't discuss authority business, because this is not an authority event, you could be there, but you just couldn't talk about authority business.
Authority business,
Yeah.
but we could interface with the,
Yeah, you interact with
the
them.
consortium with
Yeah.
their business.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my guess also would be that there might be people in your organizations that are better attendees than authority members. So if you wanted to send somebody on your behalf, but who also had the appropriate background, all the better.
Well, I'm thinking from the A&S perspective, what role, if any, we could have played in this. So I'll contact Bob Fine today, our executive director, and ask him what, if any, role the A&S would like to participate in playing this to support you too, given the fact that this is more than just regional.
That's right. No, this would be a national effort. Yeah, I'll make sure they get sent out.
Thank you.
24 hours.
Well, if I may, I think it's fair to say I'm very impressed with the actions that the consortium's already taken. They've been very, we just formed them in January. It's only four months later, and they've already conducted all the activities they've done related to getting business started, to getting set up to facilitate being a 501c6 organization, interviewing and hiring an executive director, getting him set up, and actually demonstrating a positive and a value add to this activity. And there's a couple of things I'll bring up a little bit later. So is there any other comments or questions anybody on the authority would like to have to Gary about the status of what's going on with the consortium?
We actually have a member here, Jennifer, and I didn't know if she had anything else she wanted to add beyond what Gary reported back.
The only thing I would add that we really, it's listed here is the first sub-bullet under 3. The effort of the collective workforce development team, which is we've established. Most of us have a member on that board, and they're making good progress. It was after we stood that board up that we received, and I think a number of organizations, we received a letter from NEI saying they're looking at nuclear workforce development, and so we're really trying to make sure that what we're doing, is aligned with what they're trying to do. We don't have 2 organizations trying to accomplish the same thing, and that our efforts are complementary. So that's sort of where that stands now. But they've got a very sound approach relative to looking at what the demand signals are and sort of collecting how each of the different business units within the nuclear industry in the state are looking at workforce development and demand. So that's happening by a working team level and is progressing as rapidly as everything else at the consortium.
That's pretty good.
That's a good point. And Jennifer, I understand before, given the fact that there's a regionalization aspect of this and obviously a national application, and we're in a phase of what, if anything, and I don't know that I would expect an answer, what, if anything, can we do on the authority to support you? Just please make sure that you stay in touch with us and advise how we can
we
help
will
you.
let the authority know.
Okay. We do want to make sure we do that. Excuse me, Miss, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. I'm Jennifer Wally. I'm with Cornerstone Government Affairs.
Thank you so much. Any other discussion about the outstanding progress already made by the consortium? Very well, hearing none, we'll move on to old business, and that would be the asset inventory and the appointment update. So, Randy, can I ask you to
on the first item, asset inventory, we have two higher ed partners here today that I'll be in touch. Where if you want to start one thing that would be helpful is if at each of your excuse me, we'll talk about today. If at each of your colleges you could let me know the programs that you guys offer.